My compassionate and imaginative Pisces friend, hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. Pisces, your heart is quietly restless as this week opens. There's an ache beneath your gentleness, a subtle uncertainty sliding through even your simplest routines. You sense a cycle turning, an old comfort eroding at the edges, but you're not entirely sure what's changing or why. It's as if a familiar tide is pulling away and you're left standing ankle deep, feeling the coolness of absence more than the excitement of what's to come. You may notice yourself pausing longer in small decisions or feeling an odd mix of anticipation and reluctance. There's a longing to hold on to something steady, and yet a part of you is already letting go. You are not lost, but you are in between what was and what will be. This in-between space carries a tension, unspoken but real, as you try to make sense of your own shifting inner weather. You're searching for a sign that you're not alone in your uncertainty, a reassurance that your quiet feelings are seen, even if you haven't named them aloud. The urge to trust life's flow exists side by side with a subtle fear. What if the next wave brings more change than you're ready for? This sense of being carried by something larger is at the heart of your week. The wheel of fortune turns in your life now, not as an event, but as a slow, ongoing movement in your emotional depths. Maybe you've recently noticed that things you once counted on, relationships, routines, or even your own feelings, seem less predictable, less under your control. You might find yourself caught between hope and hesitation, feeling as if you're standing at the center of something bigger than your own choices. There's a feeling that change is inevitable, like the seasons shifting, and you're both comforted and unsettled by that truth. You sense that not all decisions are yours to make. That part of you must yield to the unfolding of time, and yet you're quietly scanning your surroundings for patterns, anything familiar to hold onto as the world moves around you. Emotionally, this can bring up a subtle tension. You want to believe in growth, but you're also wary of what you might lose as things change. There's a recognition that fortune, in all its forms, can be both generous and demanding. Sometimes you feel as if you're watching your own life from a distance, waiting for the next chapter to reveal itself. At the same time, you're aware of the role you play in this turning. Your responses matter, even if you don't control the wheel itself. This week, your inner state is one of quiet receptivity mixed with a gentle vigilance. You are open but not unguarded. You're alert to the way circumstances shift, and even when you feel powerless, you sense the importance of your own willingness to adapt. This is not a time for forced optimism or denial. Instead, it's a time to recognize the complexity of your feelings, to let yourself be present with both the hope and the anxiety that change brings. Because this turning wheel is not just abstract, it awakens something in your daily life. The uncertainty you feel inside starts to influence your choices, your pace, even the way you interpret ordinary moments. You may find yourself pausing before you act, as if testing the ground before each step. Sometimes you're tempted to rush ahead to reclaim a sense of control, but another part of you knows that moving too quickly might mean missing something important. This tension, between the desire to steer events and the need to surrender, creates a subtle friction in your week. It's as if life is asking you to wait, to notice, to listen. And as you respond to this invitation, the path before you begins to reveal itself, not as a straight road, but as a series of choices shaped by your willingness to let go of what you cannot hold. So, here you are, Pisces, standing at the crossroads of surrender and expectation. The Hanged Man appears not as a punishment, but as a mirror for your current experience. The world around you seems to slow down, and the usual solutions don't quite fit. There is a sense of suspended motion, a pause that feels both enforced and chosen. Perhaps you find yourself in situations where your usual responses aren't working, where your perspective is challenged or your plans are put on hold. It could be an external delay or an internal sense that something isn't ready to move. This pause is not always comfortable. It can bring frustration, as if you're being asked to wait for a sign that never quite arrives. You might notice a pressure to resolve things, to find clarity, but clarity doesn't come from effort alone this week. Instead, it comes from a shift in perspective. Friction arises when you resist the pause, when you try to force answers or rush through uncertainty. The more you push, the more life seems to hold you in place. This can bring up impatience or even self-doubt, wondering if you're missing an opportunity or if you should be doing more. Yet underneath that discomfort, there's also a quiet invitation. The Hanged Man's energy asks you to see things differently, to allow your perceptions to soften, and to let meaning emerge in its own time. Sometimes it's in the waiting that you discover what really matters. You may notice unexpected insights arriving when you release the need to control the outcome. The external pressures, deadlines, expectations, or the opinions of others may feel louder this week, but the true momentum is internal. It's about aligning your actions with a deeper sense of acceptance rather than reacting out of fear or habit. This stretch of waiting is not empty. It's full of potential energy, poised to move once you've truly seen where you stand. The friction you feel is a sign that something is preparing to shift, not because you force it, but because you become genuinely ready to see things as they are. Your path this week is about honoring the pause, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's about recognizing that some answers can only come when you stop searching so hard. The events that unfold are shaped by your willingness to experience both the frustration and the freedom that come with letting go. The possibility that opens from all this isn't automatic. It depends on how deeply you meet this moment, how honestly you face the tension between motion and stillness. Your growth is not a given, it's an invitation, one that asks for your conscious engagement with what is rather than what you wish could be. If you can stay present in the uncertainty, if you can allow yourself to be changed by the pause rather than simply enduring it, something within you begins to shift. The way forward doesn't appear all at once, but as you soften into the pause, you start to sense a new kind of readiness building within. When the Knight of Wands energy stirs within you, Pisces, it isn't a sudden burst or a reckless leap. It's more like a quiet surge, a recognition that you're ready to move, but with a kind of courage that's both gentle and determined. You feel the stirrings of desire, not just to escape discomfort, but to pursue something that matters to you. There's a subtle fire building, a willingness to act on what you've discovered in the stillness. This isn't about dramatic gestures or proving yourself. It's about letting your actions express your renewed sense of purpose, even if the steps are small. You recognize that you are not powerless, even when circumstances are beyond your control. There's a new clarity, an understanding that you can choose how you respond, that you can bring your full presence to what's in front of you. Growth, in this sense, is not a destination. It's an unfolding process, one that asks you to trust both your instincts and your newfound patience. The energy of the Knight of Wands is bold, but it's also rooted in the wisdom you've gained from waiting. You're invited to take action, but not just for action's sake. The actions that matter now are the ones that emerge from your deepest understanding, those moments where your courage is guided by compassion, for yourself and for those around you. This week, what becomes possible is a more authentic expression of who you are. You discover that even in the midst of change, you can act with intention and heart. The potential before you isn't about conquering challenges, but about participating fully in the unfolding of your life. All that you've experienced, The turning of the wheel, the enforced pause, the quiet readiness, comes together in a gentle realization. Life cycles are not always within your control, but your relationship to them can change. You are not at the mercy of fate, nor are you trapped by circumstance. Instead, you are learning to dance with uncertainty, to find meaning in both movement and stillness. The Wheel of Fortune reminds you that change is constant, but so is your ability to adapt. The Hanged Man teaches that surrender can lead to new perspectives, and the Knight of Wands reveals that action, when rooted in presence, is both possible and meaningful. As the week unfolds, you may notice a greater sense of calm. The tension you carried at the start begins to soften, replaced by a quiet confidence. You understand, perhaps more than before, that growth is not about forcing outcomes, but about participating with open eyes and an open heart. Even when you don't have all the answers, you can trust the process of becoming. In the end, you are left not with certainty, but with a sense of peace, a reassurance that you are exactly where you need to be, ready for whatever comes next. Actionable insights for Pisces this week. This week's changes invite you to pause and notice what actually feels different for you right now. You might gently try slowing down when you feel rushed, just to see what becomes clearer. If you sense a spark of energy, let yourself follow it in a small way, no need to force anything. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I notice what is changing and what stays steady. My patience is a quiet strength. In stillness I discover what matters to me. Each step I take is mine to choose. I trust my own way forward. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.